Now what's this gonna be? You know how I played it all. That nigga burning G. All by his bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Bitch, I'm all up by my bread. All by my bread. Now what's this gonna be?
We got some breaking news coming from the PBC. Dog fighting arrest in Georgia. We're going to get into that. But first, I want to say a big shout out and big appreciation and salute to the brothers and sisters down in the chat. Everybody that's watching the video. Everybody that watched my video that I dropped yesterday on Facebook. And everybody that's commenting in the comments and sharing the video. Much appreciation. Much love to all y'all brothers and sisters out there, man. And I'm going to drop another video today on Facebook speaking about that same topic. The pregnant lady who got attacked by the two dogs in a, look like, would it be a apartment complex parking lot? And the doctors had to induce her labor. You know, so I'm going to speak about that as well. But first, man, I want to say, you know, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this dog fighting arrest situation in Georgia on, and then I'm going to speak about it when it's done. You know, it's a few things I want to say about it. So I'm going to let y'all check it out first. Listen to all the facts that the news people put out there, all the news that the Georgia news put out, and then I'm gonna speak about it when it's done. So y'all come on up in here, man. Let's get to it. It's your boy PB K9s. Let's go.
Our newsroom, one man is in custody following an alleged dog fighting investigation. The Georgia Bureau of Agriculture, along with multiple law enforcement agencies, arrested Robert James Hester on June 24th. Officials say tips led investigators to Hester's Crawford County home, where they executed a search warrant. Officials say there they seized 23 dogs believed to have been used for fighting, along with multiple guns, marijuana, and meth. Georgia Agriculture Commissioner Tyler J. Harper commented on the case, saying in part, quote, "The Georgia Department of Agriculture has zero tolerance for illegal dog fighting and the cruelty that it inflicts on animals," end quote. Hester currently faces charges of possession of firearms by a convicted felon, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, and possession of tools for the commission of a crime, and possession of methamphetamine. In addition to the state charges, Hester faces federal charges related to alleged illegal dog fighting and firearm violations. He remains in custody at the Crawford County Jail.
This is what I got to say about it. You know, it's a few things that they didn't say on this particular article, but I read it from another article that went to where I can bring it to y'all in this article. You know, first thing is, we got a felon in possession of a firearm, which means that's pretty much an open and shut case. It's not a situation where you're going to try to take it to trial. You know, you could take the dogs to trial, or what you going to say? You're not guilty in these charges, but you're guilty in this one. You know, it's a whole package deal. You know, you're either not guilty or you're guilty, one or the other. You know, and when they got the felon in possession of a firearm, like I say, that's dead to rights. You know, they caught you right there. Now, I always tell brothers, you got guns. In this situation, you got everything. You got guns, you got weed, you got meth, and you got dogs. I say it all the time. I said it yesterday on my video yesterday I dropped. Drugs and guns equals dog fighting. Whether you like it, whether I like it, or whether she like it, it's the way they charge you. It's what you got to understand in modern day times. You know, you can argue all you want to argue. You can say your dogs look this way, your dogs look that way, I wasn't doing. I'm giving it to you because that's the way they do it in modern day times. They don't got to catch you in the box. Not saying this is right, not saying this is legal, not saying this is it automatically means you doing this. I'm just telling you how they charge you with these charges. If you get caught with illegal substances and you have American Pit Bull Terriers, you will, not maybe, you know, you will be charged with dog fighting. And that's just plain out and simple, man. You can understand it or you don't gotta understand it, but you're gonna get charged with it. And you gonna understand it when them folk click that time and say so and so many months or so and so many years. You'll understand it then, but it'll be a little too late. You know, and one thing I know about this pit bull game, we do have a lot of brothers who can't comprehend. You know, I make the jokes about can't read. A lot of brothers can't read. But forget the can't read. Can you comprehend? So many brothers with this breed of dogs can't comprehend to understand what's going on around them. That's why I say a lot of people should have stayed in school, at least learn how to comprehend. You know, understanding what this stuff means. Now, we all know, because I gave y'all the news article, that Georgia is implicating the RICO Act when it comes to dog fighting. This brother haven't got it yet because he just got arrested, but we'll hear about it in the future. And I'll do an update on this particular video in the future because Georgia done told y'all already, Georgia done said it, that they running the RICO law, the RICO Act, on dog fighting charges. They done said they're doing it, you know. Now, this case here don't make it easy on himself. This brother, that, you know, the stuff that he got caught with, they don't make it easy on him. They can easily throw the RICO out there on him because he got meth, weed, dogs, and guns. What more do they need? Maybe a homicide? That's the only other thing they can charge him with. You know, another big charge, that's the only other thing that's left out. The homicide, everything else, he got it there for him. But the big thing about this whole situation is, I tell brothers, and I said it on my last video, is it worth you losing your family? Is it worth you losing the rights to be able to be around your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids? In some instances, great-great-grandkids. Because I told you the ages vary. You know, the ages vary in these charges. You see brothers from 19 that we just seen last week get arrested, to brothers 70 and 80 years old get arrested for dog fighting. Now, this brother's 65 years old. 65 with a felon in possession. Let's start with that. 65 with a felon in possession of a felon in possession of firearm. 65 years old. We automatically know that felon in possession of firearm, we talking minimum 5 years, all right? Minimum 5 years. You come home when you're 70, right? Just off the firearm charge. Now we talking weed and meth. Maybe the weed won't do too much, all right? Everybody know across the board that weed is not too heavy. You know, some people get probation for it, some people don't get nothing for it. Different states, it depends on where you're at. But in this case, we got felon in possession of firearm, 5 years, weed, and meth. Just say they threw him 5 years for the weed and the meth. That's 10 years. 65. We talking 75 when you come home. And we ain't even start talking about the dog fighting charges yet. We talking about the firearms, the weed, the meth. Now let's get to the dogs. What if they gave him, pled guilty to 5 years with the dog? You know, what if he pled to 3 years with the dog? So we talking about a good 10 to 15 years for all that combined, pleading guilty for it. You know, we ain't talking about going to trial and losing and getting 10 to 15. We talking about pleading guilty. You're looking at 10 to 15 years at 65 years old. Is it worth it? It's what I ask you. Is it worth it? 65, 75 to 80 years old when you come home. Hold up. Let me take that back. 75 to 85 when you come home, if you went to trial, if you went to court today, the same day that you got busted. Now, give or take, this trial may take a year or two just to even come around. You may stay in the court system 2 to 3 years before you even go to trial. Now that's another 3 years added on to your 65, maybe about 68 when you go to court. Between 65 to 68 when you go to court. Now you're talking about a 10 to 15 on 68 years old. 78 off 10, 15, we talking 80 some years old when you come home. Is it worth it. But brothers want to joke about this and say Pelican Bay doing this and ask me how the hell I get all the information on every bust that happened. Bitch, cause I read, and bitch, cause I pay attention, and bitch, cause I can comprehend. I ain't like a lot of y'all motherfuckers, man. Like I said before, you can't comprehend. You see what you want to see, and you analyze what you want to analyze, and everything else, you just dumbfounded too. I ain't one of them, dog. You know? I mean, we went to school for 12 years, supposedly, before you enter off at college or something like that. I'm utilizing my skills that I learned from them 12 years of going to school. Whether it's people skills, whether it's math, or whether it's science or social studies or English or whatever. I may talk a little slang, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I'm utilizing what I've been through. A lot of y'all, man, just dumb. You know, it's sad to say that shit, you know? And a lot of y'all, I know y'all parents raised you better than that. Made sure you went to school. But a lot of y'all, you still in that group of folk that call the nerds dumb. You know, you still in that group of folk that pick at the smart people. You know, pick at the people that's trying to pay attention in class. You still in that group of folk. You still in that group of folk that's trying to fit in. You know, fit in with the Joneses, as they say. When them folk ain't playing out here, man, they bagging you up and shipping your ass off. Oh, I forgot. This the era that like to act like going to prison is cool. So like I said before, y'all 19, 20-year-old brothers, you may find it comfortable to go to prison. But that dude that's 65, he from that old school era. 65 years old, you can be a great granddaddy, you know? And the youngest they making grandmamas now, you might can be a great granddaddy. Because grandma's a whole lot younger than they used to be back in the days. You know, so ask yourself, man, is it worth it? 65 years old, 65 to 70 years old, by the time this thing go to court, ask yourself, is it worth it at the end of the damn day? At 65 years old, this brother got to rush the trial, man. Yo, let's go ahead and get this thing going. I don't got much time to wait around, bullshitting around, not going to court, waiting for this judge to come up, waiting for that judge to come up, because your lawyer, you got a paid lawyer. Your lawyer want to wait till a certain judge come up because it may be more lenient on you as far as how much time you're going to get, because this judge right here, he more lenient when it comes to these charges. This other judge, he lost a son for meth. He lost a granddaughter, a grandson for meth, firearms, violent firearms, and all kind of stuff. Got killed in the streets or something. So you don't want to go up in front of him with the guns and the firearms and the weed and the meth. Somebody in his family overdosed off meth. You don't want to go in front of him, so now you got to wait. He wants you to wait at least, because you go in front of him is almost like going to trial. He going to give you double what this other judge going to give you. But at 65 years old, you got to rush the process because you're trying to hurry up and get back. At 65, 5 years is like doing 15 years, 20 years. 20 years at 20 years old. At 65, you can go do 5 years, come back, you be 70 years old. At 20 years old, you can do 20 years, come back and still be a young man. At 40 years, you won't be young, but you'll be young enough to still maneuver in society the way you want to do it. 65 doing 5 years, shit. Man, listen here, man, you coming back 70 years old. You got to pretty much take what they give you. So, hey, like I always say, man, is it worth it? Is all you got to ask yourself, That's all you gotta ask yourself, man. And like I said, we got some more dog talk we gonna get into, man. Uh, I want to call it the quote of the day. You know, the quote of the day. And this is made by, I want to say, Warmouth Kennels. He said, there's no superior bloodline out there, only superior dog men. You know, big shout out to Warmouth, you know, for dropping a quote on Facebook. I read it and I wanted to speak about it because it's something that I always speak about, you know, and I agree with that quote. There's no superior bloodlines, only superior dog men. I agree with that quote, but let's do a little discussion when it comes to that particular quote, you know, because I totally agree with it. It ain't the dog. It's the man that got the dog. You can give the man you can give the best bloodline in the world. The best, I'm talking about this, the most superior blood in the world. You can give it to a bullshit ass person that own these dogs. I ain't gonna call him a dog, man. Bullshit person that own these dogs, and the dog gonna look like shit. He gonna perform like shit. But it's a superior blood. It's the top of the line shit. You know, I say it all the time. But what I will say is, I'm not gonna act crazy. I'm not gonna act stupid, right? And not calling Warmouth stupid because he's a very educated brother, you know. But what I'm gonna say is that statement is so true. But I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna give it a good 80% being true, 20% the other way. And when I say that, I mean you will find bloodlines out there, or families of dogs out there that is superior to the dog that they're competing on. If you got a man, all right, I'm just gonna use Brother Warmouth, for example. Warmouth, great dog man. You know, I'm gonna use him as an example. If Warmouth got a dog from right here, he's a great dog man, and a dog from this other family, you know, some dogs just outclass other dogs. Some dogs just got that it factor, like I always say, and some dogs don't. And we're talking about a dog worked by the same man. You know what I'm saying? Top echelon dog man. He's top of the line, best of the best. He got these dogs and he got these dogs. These dogs outclass these dogs. You know, they bring more to the table than these dogs. You know, all dogs aren't equal at all. You know, it's like you can go get a pit bull and you know this is a pit bull from this. I'm just gonna say the animal shelter. We know, but it don't make no difference because we know animal shelter gets people, dogs all across the country. So you never know what kind of pit bull you're gonna have at animal shelter. But I'm just use that as an example. You know, we can go get a dog from the animal shelter and it's half-ass. He with the best dog man ever. Half-ass dog. And then you go get some of these top of the line, you know, top of the line dogs with real class, dogs with real class, you know, and you can see the difference. This dog is doing all this shit. We talking, and I'm gonna go back in the Wild Wild West days. You know, this other dog, he just come out, he's just locking. And then you got this other dog coming out, he's taking moves, he's taking holds, he's going in this area, he's going in that area. He's just too much. You know, he's just too much for this particular dog here. All the way around. You know, the only way this dog here lose on this side is if he has somebody who not feeding them right, not conditioning them right, and doing all that other stuff. If a great man got this dog, you know, and a great man got this dog, it's always a chance that you run into a line of dogs that's far more superior than the one that you're running. You know, you got him in shape, but he just outclassed by this dog. And I'll say that could be 20% of the time what may happen. Just 20% out of 100. And the other 80, it's gonna have to be exactly what Warmouth said. There's no superior line, you know. And I may even go to 85% to what Warmouth said, because you can't judge a whole line off of one dog. You know, I may come out with a bullshit dog, then the next person may come out with one that's up the caliber, up the standards, that's really can do what he's supposed to do, you know. You got some pit bulls out there, full-blooded pit bulls. I don't know what bloodline they come from, but you have some full-blooded pit bulls that don't have a style at all. They just lock. You know, they'll come out there and they're locked. They're not even ear suckers, what we'll call ear suckers. They're just locked. And then this other dog, he's dancing. He's doing all kind of shit, you know. He's MMA style compared to this other dog. Put them in these kind of submissions, put them in them submissions, gripping here, doing this, doing that. It's because they outclassing the dog. You know? So like I said, I would totally agree with Warmouth's statement. The dog man, and I say this all the time, I can have the best dogs in the world. But if I'm only worried about the money and just selling them to anybody, and then 20 years later, we making videos talking about why none of these dogs made the rum list, why none of these dogs made champion in the show, in the confirmation shows, you know what I'm saying? Why none of these dogs got weight pull titles, you know? Why none of these dogs got wall climbing titles, you know? Why none of these dogs got shuts and protection work and that type of stuff titles? Who did I sell them to? I didn't get the dogs to the right kind of people. If I take my time and screen these folks, if I take my time and make sure, you know, that this dog getting to the right kind of person, this dog getting to the right kind of person, this dog getting to the right person, my chances are higher for these dogs to be successful in the future. You see? When we start chasing the dollar from anybody, that's why they say all money ain't good money. And sometimes you can benefit for the now and lose for the future. Oh yeah, I got this couple thousand now. I made this 10,000 now. But who the dog got to? Did the dog get to the kind of people that's gonna make sure this dog win? If the dog win, then I win. You see? In the future. This brother is satisfied with his dog, and the dog doing good, and the dog is making his, you know, his rep the way he wanted his rep to go up, and doing things that he wanted his dog to do in his program, and it's coming from me. Then when he win, I win. But if I get the dog, the people that don't know what to do with them, that's ruining them, that's getting busted with the dogs, all other kind of shit, then I lose. Where all the champion wall climbers? Where all the champion this and that? Those dogs ain't this, or those dogs, them dogs is mutts, and them dogs is blah, blah, blah. Because they went to the wrong kind of people. So I will say again, big shout out to the brother Warmouth for dropping the topic on Facebook. There is no superior bloodline. There's only superior dog men. And I said it before, I'm going to say it again. Give yourselves more credit as dog men that's raising these dogs. Stop saying that these dogs are going to be great dogs no matter who get them. Because that's a motherfucking false. That's false. That's false. That's not a true statement. These dogs aren't going to be successful if they would have been great dogs in certain people's hands. You can't say Jeep would have been successful if anybody other than Mr. Crenshaw would have had him. You can't say Mayday would have been successful if anybody other than Victor would have had him. You can't say Big John. You can't say Sambo would have been successful if anybody other than me would have had him. You can't say Red Boy would have been successful if anybody other than Mr. Bass and his crew would have had it. You can't say none of them dogs, man. You know, you can't say none of them dogs would have been successful or been the dogs that we know them to be if the person, somebody else other than the original owners, would have had the dogs. Or the people that actually made the dogs successful would have had the dogs. You just don't know. You can't say that, you know. And I would say this dog will be great no matter who got him if I didn't know, if I really didn't pay attention and know what it takes to make a great dog. You know, you can't just get a dog and feed it and it's gonna be great. You gotta put that work in with that dog in order for that dog to be great. You know, whether it's making sure he wormed out, making sure he fed right, making sure he's staying healthy. You know, all that stuff matters. Making sure you got a bond with the dog. Superior dog bloodlines, superior dog men. There's a big difference. No superior blood or superior dog men. You got two dog men, right? Same family of dogs. You know, both of them got Big John dogs, or both of them got Mayday dogs or Jeep dogs. Off the same family, right? From the same, they bought their dogs from the same person. Now, just so happened they're going into each other, right? Back in the days. They're going into each other. Now, this one person leaves his dog on a chain. His dog really don't got a bond with him. You know, this other person walks their dog all the time, exercise, plays with their dog, take their dog out like Bruce Banner take his dog and let him go out there and swim in the bay. You know, Bruce Banner dog be swimming in the Hudson River. Shit. And then he doing all this stuff with these dogs. The dog love you to death. Compared to this man dog over here who just, all he knows is he gets something to eat every day and he stay on the chain. Now he put him in a little keep, little conditioning or whatever. And that's the most he ever did with that dog as far as walking him and messing with him. Some people don't even walk their dog in the keep. They put him straight from the chain to the treadmill, from the treadmill to the chain. But if he do get any walking, that's the only walking he got is in that little 8 weeks. You don't got the bond that this other man got with his dog. The great qualities that make him a great dog man is what it's gonna take, and what it's gonna be the difference in that show. When that dog get down and out and ready to quit, he's gonna look in his owner eyes. He's got a bond with him. He's not gonna quit as fast as your dog is gonna quit. He's gonna give his total heart. He gonna get it from this dog. Everything this dog has in his body, he gonna get it from this dog because of the bond. Because the bond means when the bond comes from a true dog man. It don't care what kind of breed you got. You know, if you got a bond with your dog, you know, German Shepherd, Rottweiler, Doberman Pinscher, Poodle, Labrador, Spot, what do you call them? The Pointers, Husky, Australian Shepherd. I don't care what kind of dog you got a bond with them. That means it's just common sense. It is, you know, self-explanatory. You're bonding with that dog. You're a dog man. You know what I'm saying? You do what that dog loves to do on a daily basis. Take walks, eat great, stomach clear parasites. You know what I'm saying? Go off in the parks and go take trips in the car and all kind of stuff. You know, when the dog see you walk onto your property, he just go to running around in circles and barking and happy to see you. Just know he about to get off the chain or get out the cage or come out the house because of that bond you got with him. You know? And that's going to be the same thing that make a difference between an average dog and a dog that made a name for himself, that people speaks about 20 and 30 years down the line. Y'all take too much credit from the man and give it all to the dogs. In some cases, you know, in some cases. Too much credit, man. You see, let me give you another scenario. You take too much credit and give it to these dogs, when you better start giving it to yourselves or to these dog men. Understand, the same way I can have a dog that just demolished everything he went into. All hard competition back in the days, right? We talking about 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 1993. My dog was destroying everything he went on to in 1993. And we'll talk about it in 2026 and say this dog was the best. This dog would have been a superior dog no matter where he would have landed at, who hands he would have landed in. He was a superior dog. But see, what they didn't understand was the dog man made the difference, because that dog man pick and choose who he wanted to go into. You know, spot picking, cherry picking is what they call it. He was cherry picking his competition, going into this man, knowing this man was a little green, going into this man, knowing he was a little, he had pretty good dogs, but he wasn't all that. Going into this man because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Going into this man because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. Going into this man because he had his dog sick all the time. Going into this man because he didn't know how to do a keep. 20 years later, we said, oh, this is a badass damn dog. But no, that dog had a badass damn owner that knew how to keep him the way he can always win, where he wasn't gonna be in trouble to lose. He cherry picking his competition, and that's the same. What I'm saying is, even though that dog owner may not be considered the top echelon dog man, the dog man mattered to the dog. You know, now 30 years later, we looking at that dog like that dog was unstoppable. Taking all the credit from the man that cherry picked and put him in the places that he needed to be to win. He wasn't going into anybody who wanted smoke. He was going into the ones that he figured he can beat. Oh, that's a badass dog. That was a badass dog. That was a badass dog. He was all right as a dog, man. That's what they'll say. Yo, he was all right as a dog, man. That was a badass dog. But the whole time, the story is the man was a badass dog, man. You know, whether we agree with how he did it or not, the dog man made the difference. He could have went into the hardest competition. He chose not to. He chose to go into these weaklings. We don't know that 30 years later, 40 years later. We don't know that. All we know is the dog was winning. There aren't superior bloodlines. Salute Warmouth. There are superior dog men. Take credit for what you put in. Understand, if you're not going to put it in, the dog can't make you into no superior dog man. It just is what it is. You got to have that already. You got to have that it factor, like I always say, already. It got to be in you. You know, you can go get the best yellow dog, the best Jeep dog, the best red boy. You know, that shit ain't going to make you a dog man. You got to make that dog the dog man. I mean, you got to make that dog. You know, you got to put that dog in the spotlight to win. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay legal out there. Keep doing what you're doing, preserving this breed in the right way. The only way, the legitimate way. It's your boy PB K9s representing from the PBC, Pelican Bay's Corner, where I give it to you fair and unbiased, raw and uncut. Y'all hit that like button up, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed to the channel yet. Some gonna like it, some ain't. We out.